Hi, I'm Ricky Alexander.
And I'm Matt Farrell.
And welcome to On the Back Porch Season 3.
Today we have Andy Stein, who is a wonderful and hilarious and extremely talented man.
Is this the place?
Played with Asleep at the Wheel. He played with Bob Dylan, Mariah Carey, Tony Bennett.
Going on,
This
welcome.
must be the place where the place is at.
That's right.
He's just done everything, and he's really, really fun, and I'm really excited to talk to him today.
You spent 22 years with Garrison Keillor.
On the radio, on Prairie Home Companion, yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us about your experience with that?
Well, I mean, it started out in 1984. They flew all 12 of the Nighthawks, Vince Giordano's Nighthawks, out to play on the radio show. At which time, sometime during the day, I ran into Garrison backstage. And he said, "What's a greasy hippie like you doing in a tuxedo with this band?" So it turned out he had been a fan of a rock and roll band I played in the 60s and 70s called Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen.
Oh my God, I forgot that you played with Commander Cody. That's so cool. Oh my God.
We did have a cult, sort of a niche following. And Garrison was one of those guys. He had a beard, you know, and probably smoked a lot of pot.
Greasy hippie.
Yeah, greasy hippie like him. And so then he had me back as a soloist with the house band, with Butch Thompson and those guys, sometime during the 80s. And then he quit the show. He got married to Ulla. They moved to Copenhagen, and that didn't work out. And finally, they compromised on New York, at which time Garrison started the radio show again. He called it the American Radio Company of the Air. And he asked me to be a guest. And I said, hell no, I want to be in the house band. After a while, the show moved back to St. Paul and gradually stripped the house band of all the New Yorkers, except for me.
What was it like in the house band? What was the energy of behind
Oh,
the
well, I
scenes
mean,
there?
it was a great band. It's called the Guys All-Star Shoe Band, because Guys Shoes was our sponsor. Talking guys, talking shoes. Any size, any, I can't remember. Pat Donahue wrote the words. Anyways, we backed up everybody from Chet Adkins and Roger Miller to Renee Fleming and Yo-Yo and Pierre Rompal.
Was this show recorded live?
Yeah,
So-
it was a live broadcast.
Were there any times where shit really hit the fan or something like crazy and you had to call her?
You would ask that kind of a question. Of course there were.
Tell me about those moments when it went wrong.
I don't want to embarrass some people. I'm not that one.
I feel like even just knowing that you can't say
Well,
is
Garrison
telling you
had
a lot.
a propensity to, he really depended on the time clock to edit himself. And I have to say, as an amazing writer that he was, and humorist, he was even better at self-editing. He is a genius editor. But so sometimes he blew it on the editing. And I remember one time his monologue, which is usually in the second half of the show, went so long that the stage managers just had to come out with a sign and say, "Just say goodnight, Garrison." Sweet and slow, yeah. Rock-a-bye me to and fro. While the lights are burning low. Honey, let's just take our time. I said sweet and slow. We ain't got no place to go. We sure as hell ain't going to Buffalo. So let's just take our time. Now you heard how the turtle and the rabbit ran a race. Oh yeah. And of course you heard how the rabbit ended up in second place. There's a lesson in there. I think you know what I'm talking about. Oh, sweet and slow, while the band is moaning low. Oh, honey, I know we can make it if we take it sweet and slow. Yeah. Sweet and slow, oh yeah, sweet and slow.
I'm dying to ask a question now because I totally forgot that you were in Commander Cody, which is so cool. And I don't know how this all happened. I don't even know where you're from. So where are you from?
New York. You
You're
got
from
a
New York,
problem
right?
with that?
Okay. I kind of thought from the way of your voice, but how did you get from Commander Cody to the Nighthawks? What was that transition of music?
Well,
were you jazz first and then rock or rock jazz?
Right. So Commander Cody was formed in Ann Arbor when I was going to college.
Okay.
And then we moved to California to get noticed. And there was also a lot more places to play. And, lived in the Bay Area for 8 years. But Commander Cody, we played the rock and roll circuit. But the music that we played was, I would say we were one of the first roots bands. We had 3 bona fide Chicago blues musicians, the bass player, the drummer, and the lead singer. Actually, we just did an album that's out called Back from the Ozone by the Lost Planet Airmen. But anyway, so we played Cajun music, we played country music, we played black gospel music. We covered a Staple Singer tune, Why Am I Treated So Bad? We played Chicago blues, we played Western swing. And that's when I said, oh, there's a swing and fiddle player. Then we sort of shepherded Asleep at the Wheel to come out to California from D.C., from West Virginia, actually. The Wheel was completely Western swing.
Yeah.
So they didn't have any fiddle players in their band for the first year or so. And so I played with them a lot. And I played on their first 5 albums, actually, and toured with them for maybe 5-6 weeks a year. And then when we played with the Wheel hired 3 ringer fiddle players, Johnny Gimbel, me, and Buddy Spiker. Meeting Johnny Gimbel was amazing. He turned me on to Sven Asmussen, who is the greatest jazz violinist of history. And he just was such a successful entertainer in Denmark that he really hardly ever left.
Yeah.
So that's why nobody knows about him in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, I've never heard that name.
Oh, he took Stuff Smith and carried it to really a much higher level. So then Commander Cody broke up. I moved back east. I met the Manhattan Rhythm Kings. They were playing a street fair a block from my house. And I said to Brian, you guys need a hot fiddle player. And he said, no, but here's the guy, Vince Giordano, he does.
Yeah.
And Vince had just found himself a phono fiddle, the violin with the horn on it. And he said, I guess I better add a violin player to the band. So I called him and he hired me. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm playing with a real bass sax player. I mean, nobody like that. I used to play some of those Adrian Rollini things on my baritone sax in the Bay Area when I was learning all this music from the Golden Age Jazz Band. And I've been with the Nighthawks off and on since '89 when I moved back east.
And it's such a rare double for somebody to play sax and fiddle like you do.
That came out because in Commander Cody, we also did a lot of 50s rock and roll, a lot of rockabilly.
That's like how you got into the baritone sax?
Yeah, so then, when we do rock and roll, what am I doing beating the crap out of an electric fiddle when I could be playing one-note solos on a tenor sax? So I did that for years.
Change